Thank you to all our witnesses for your thoughtful testimony. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes. Mr. Wang, I'd like to begin by asking you to respond a bit to some of what Mr. Kitchens laid out in terms of our advantages and disadvantages relative to China in the AI race. How do you see those advantages, relative advantages and disadvantages?
So I certainly agree that America is the place of choice for the most talented AI scientists in the world. So we certainly continue to have an advantage there, and the evidence is clear. If you look at ChatGPT, GPT-3, GPT-4, as well as the transformer model that underpins it, all of those were invented in the United States. When it comes to data, I actually also agree that we have a potential very powerful advantage here, specifically when it pertains to military implementations. So in America, we have the largest fleet of military hardware in the world. This fleet generates 22 terabytes of data every day. And so if we can properly set up and instrument this data that's being generated into pools of AI-ready data sets, then we can create a pretty insurmountable data advantage when it comes to military use of artificial intelligence. Now, I think this is something that we need to work together and actually move towards as a country. Today, most of this data goes unused or is wasted in some manner. We need to fix that to create a long-standing and durable advantage in artificial intelligence data. And then when it comes to computational power, NVIDIA, which is the world's leader in chips for artificial intelligence, is an American company. These technologies are innovated and built in America. And so again, there, I think we have an advantage. Thank you.
And I mean, you've dealt a lot with the Pentagon. It's a customer of yours. Why is it at present, I know a lot of this is in your written testimony, that it is wasted? What's preventing us from harnessing that data? And I guess more broadly, what's preventing us? Why have we not had new Pathfinder projects since Maven?
So data is something that is significantly more valuable with the advent of these artificial intelligence algorithms. So, a very simplistic way to look at AI is that you have these algorithms that analyze troves and troves of high-quality data, identify patterns in those data, and then can emulate those patterns going forward. So we see that with models like ChatGPT, which are able to read troves and troves of language data, things that humans have written over years and years. Then it can emulate how a human might speak in a lot of these instances. So these artificial intelligence algorithms have made data significantly more valuable than they have in the past. And so it's a new paradigm that the DoD needs to adapt towards. As we all know, the DoD is a fragmented organization. There's many different constituencies and organizations that each have their own approach to data. And like one of my witnesses mentioned, there's an education process and an upskilling process that needs to happen. Everyone within the DoD needs to understand that data is actually the ammunition in an AI war. And if we have that recognition as an entire department and as a country, I think it becomes very clear for us to take the right actions to actually collect all this data and move forward.
It sounds as though you're suggesting that with the right leadership and organization, DoD could actually be a leader in this space. I wonder if it could also be a leader in terms of the guardrails that a lot of our constituents are asking us about, right? I think your average American understands we need to win this competition, but is concerned about, uncontrolled AI, and everyone's seen Terminator, et cetera, et cetera. What is your assessment of the DoD's ethical framework? Is that potentially a foundation that could be built upon, expanded to ensure we're on the same page within the Five Eyes Alliance, within the NATO alliance, and then gradually bring more and more people into that sort of free world framework for AI?
I definitely agree. I think it's really critical that the United States takes the lead on this topic, particularly as it pertains to ensuring that artificial intelligence is used in accordance with our values and our principles. The DoD has established ethical AI principles, which I believe are great, and those principles are ones that we should continue to adhere. And I think now it comes down to implementation. How are we going to actually make sure that these principles are followed? That's where I think a test and evaluation regime is incredibly important and critical to the increased deployment of these AI systems. As the DoD looks to apply AI to every function within its operation, everywhere from warfighting to back office functions and logistics, we need to have proper test and evaluation mechanisms that ensure that every instance of artificial intelligence deployed follows our ethical AI principles. So I think we need to set up the framework by which we can ensure all this deployment follows those principles and really lead lead the world in terms of thinking on how AI can be used in accordance with democratic principles.
I have questions for the other witnesses that I'll have to save for a second round. I recognize Mr. Connor for 5 minutes.
Mr. Kinning, would you like to go?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since I have to do that.